Last night our homework was about finding solutions to quadratic equations, and we may or may not have noticed, but those equations were all in standard form. Today we're going to figure out how to solve equations that are not in standard form. Let's just remember what standard form looks like in the first place. So it looks like this: ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So the important thing about standard form is that it's always equal to 0. All of the examples that we see here are not going to be equal to 0. They're going to be equal to something else. So for example, let's take a look at 17. You have x squared plus 4x equals 21. Well, I want it to say something is equal to 0, so I'm going to subtract 21 from both sides of our equation so that now we've got x squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. So now that we have something equal to 0, this is in standard form and we can factor using our calculator. I'm just going to go straight to the app and go to, I'm actually already in my app, so I'm going to clear my coefficients and we're going to type in our new coefficients, 1, 4, and negative 21. 1 plus 4 and negative 21. So when we do that, our calculator gives us our solutions. So our solutions are negative 7 and 3, or 3 and negative 7. And that's all we have to do for that. Let's take a look at this next one. Again, we want it to be equal to 0, so whatever is on this side instead of 0, we're going to either subtract it or add it, whatever we have to do to make a 0 pair. So we're going to subtract 4x from both sides. 4x can't really simplify with anything, it can't combine, so our new equation will look like this: x squared minus 4x minus 45 equals 0. And notice I put 4x in the middle because I want it to look like standard form. Something x squared, something with x, something, and then just a constant c. Okay, let's do this. Go ahead and put that in our app, clear those out. We've got 1 x squared minus 4x, oopsies, minus 45. So 1x squared minus 4x minus 45. Sorry, that's kind of hard to see. Let's see what we get. Negative 5 and 9. So we'll say that our solutions are negative 5 and 9. So that's it. Let's go ahead and look at, what happens when we have, let's say, number 24. Okay, so looking at 24. Again, we want it to be something equal to 0. So I'm going to move over 9 by subtracting 9 on both sides. And we're left with 16x squared minus 9 equals 0. I can do a couple of things here. If you notice, 16 and 9 and x squared, those are both perfect squares. So we could use difference of squares and just say, okay, well, one's got to be plus, one's got to be minus. 16x squared, the square root of that is 4x. And then 9, the square root of that is 3. And then we set both of those equal to 0. So we have 4x plus 3 equal to 0, 4x minus 3 equals 0. So 4x equals negative 3, x equals negative 3/4, 4x equals 3, x equals positive 3/4. So our answer is going to be negative 3/4 and positive 3/4. Those are our x values. That's one way we could do it, or you can just enter that straight into the calculator. I'm going to clear this. And it's important that we understand what is a, what's b, and what's c. Remember, if you look at standard form, a is with x squared, b is with x, and c is just a number by itself. So for our example, 16 is with x squared, so 16 is a. We don't have a term that has x, so we're going to leave that as 0x. And negative 9 is c because it's just It's just -9. It doesn't have a variable with it. When we solve this, we should get the same thing we already found out, 3/4 and -3/4. If we did this one, let's say we did number 21, we'd subtract 28x from both sides, subtract 28x, and we're left with 4x squared minus 28x equals 0. So you could just plug this into your calculator if you want. We're going to clear our coefficients. Think about, do we know A, B, and C? Do we just know A and B, just A and C? Well, we know A, that's 4, so 4x squared minus 28x, So that's our B. We don't have a C, so we just leave it as +0. Okay, our solutions are as follows, 0 and 7. So try the rest on your own now.